Good morning. I am Ogola, and this is the Legal Insights, where you will be having information going on around you, and further, you will be having the legal touch that is in the information that is going on around you. I hope to make this as interesting as possible, and I hope to keep you as a frequent viewer, so you could subscribe and like for future days. So today, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the two issues that have been going on in the Kenyan media lately. The first being the divergent views about the senior counsel Fred Ngatia's nomination for the interviews in the JSC. And then the second issue being the Kenyans' response to the IMF loans that occurred around 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, on the first issue, even before the senior counsel Fred Ngatia appeared before the panel, a group of the Atheist Society of Kenya had written a letter to the JSC requiring his nomination to be struck off. Further, during the interview, we also, the Commissioner Majenta J, who sat on the panel, the interview panel, asking Ngatia on how he was going to deal with the perception. However, today I feel it's core to make it to the public that despite the perception, lawyers operate like cab drivers. There's a rule called the cab rank rule, and this is how simple I'll put it out there to the public. Just the same way a taxi driver or an Uber driver does not discriminate or choose on what client to carry, on what not to carry, during the perfect circumstances. That is notwithstanding curfew hours, coming closer and stuff. During the perfect circumstances, they don't choose on who to carry. Lawyers also who have expertise in a particular area and who have practiced that particular area for some time have that duty not to choose whatever client that comes to them. So it's called the cab rank rule, where once you have practiced and you are well in that particular area where your client needs your assistance, then you are required in the profession not to chase your client away. Further, the notion in Kenya, it is bordered under Article 50 of the Kenyan Constitution that states that every individual has a right to legal representation. However, someone might argue that Article 50 is subject to criminal cases and mostly of a right of arrested, accused, and detained persons, and so have you. But then the notion is that any person that is having a legal suit before a court has a right to be represented and has a right to be assumed innocent until proven guilty. With the president of this nation actually is included under every individual under Article 21, and therefore Ngatia was within his full rights, was within his full obligations and duties under the legal profession to represent the president. And that representation thus now should not be used as a prejudice to kick him off the nomination as a group of Kenyans felt like. The second issue that I'm going to address real quick is the IMF issue, the IMF loans. Well, it was interesting that we wrote letters, we made calls, we tweeted to IMF asking IMF to cut all the loanings that were being made to Kenya due to the dire situation of the country. And there were even other very funny Kenyans asking IMF to send money directly to their funds. That was very interesting. So today I want to make it known that there is hierarchy of laws in Kenya, and that is a topic we will discuss another day. But IMF is a creation of a treaty body. It's a body that is created by treaty. And created by treaty therefore means it falls under a body, or it falls under a creation of international law. And then the question of who are parties before international law, who are parties to treaties comes in. So in international law, for example, or in any relations that goes beyond the borders of Kenya, the parties to those relations are the state, and most often represented by the president. So it means once a relation is going beyond our borders, then as individuals, we don't have any say on whatever happens on those relations. And our says, or whatever we have, can only be persuasive to channel the line of interactions between our president and the party that we are relating to. But we have no voice on whatever is going on in those relations, because we are individuals, and individuals does not have standing on any international relation, except on very few cases that we will further discuss later on in other videos. So on IMF, for example, being a body created by the treaty, it is the president and it is the state Kenya that is answerable, or that can raise a claim to IMF, or that can sue or be sued by IMF before any international tribunal or international court. But it is not the individuals, the Kenyan citizens' position to ask IMF or to channel IMF to carry on certain acts. What will happen is that you will be asked to first exhaust local remedies, where IMF will ask you first to exhaust your courts, to challenge the grounds of which the loans were taken. And now from there you go to a regional body and all that stuff until you are raising this issue before the WTO or whichever tribunal that is charged with the execution of claims of IMF. So individuals do not have a standing on relations between a state and other international body, and the much that individuals can do is only shape the nature of those relations. So the awareness that we created, I would be a fool to say that it went on waste. It did not go on waste, because then it sensitizes the international community of what is going on within our country. But then it has no legal force or legal effect of terminating a loan that has been requested by a country, because then a country will say they had sufficient grounds for requesting that particular loan. So